I guess this chapter of my life is a lot about taking risks because I think in the past I used to be very quote unquote safe in terms of more reserved and just doing everything by the book. Like, okay, what's the next step in life after college? Get a job. You do next thing, you just, try to live your life like that. But my issue was I didn't want to do everything traditional. Something within me just wasn't, I'm not okay with just a 9 to 5 job or just a regular whatever it is. I wanted something more for my life. I wanted to build something more, have some sort of a legacy that I leave behind, not just follow everyone else's footsteps. I wanted to create my own path.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast, episode 102. In this episode, I speak with actor Vinn Sander. This was Vinn's second appearance on the podcast, and it was a phenomenal conversation, to say the least. Vinn is a very passionate, dedicated, and inspirational individual, and I left this conversation feeling extremely motivated, and I can't wait for you to check it out. To watch this podcast, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. To listen, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Here's my conversation with Vinn. Vinn Sander, welcome to the Sam Dever Podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
Again, part two.
All right, part two. It's crazy. We were just talking about this right before.
Yeah.
40 episodes later, right?
So you were episode 42. This
42.
is episode 102.
So it's
60 episodes.
Wow, 60
later.
episodes.
Yeah. And
How's
thank
that
you for
been?
coming on again.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man. Good to
Yeah,
see
man.
you again.
No, good to see you. And we got a lot to talk about because I did your show recently as well. So
Yep.
we'll cold talk, plug that real quick. But
Yeah.
we'll get into that. But yeah, man, no, I literally listened to our episode we did. It was over 2 years ago.
Wow.
It released in May of 2022.
That's wild. That's wild. It's almost exactly, what's the July right now?
Yeah.
Almost
so
exactly couple years.
Yeah, so we're over 2 years, and as I'm listening, I'm like, oh my gosh. Like the things we were talking about, you and I were talking about different fitness routines.
Right.
We were talking about social media, and I'm going to put people can go listen, Vinn Sander, episode 42, but I'm like, yeah, social media is not that good for you, blah, 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 blah. And then here I am within that 2 years, just being on
That's
it like
true.
crazy and
I remember
not
that.
taking
Yeah,
my own
yeah.
advice.
Yeah, I think the conversation we had was like about social media. You were
A lot
asking
of
us
it.
social media, right? Wow.
Yeah.
I should go back and watch that episode.
Yeah.
Now that after this one, just to compare.
Yeah, we talked about your journey
Yeah.
out here, and we talked about you getting into the acting thing, and we talked a lot of fitness, social media. It was very motivational, and you said something at the very end of the episode that I loved,
What's
which I
that?
think you and I can talk a lot about. You're like, don't have any regrets. Whatever it is you want to do, like go all in on it,
Right.
because at least at the end of the day, whether it works out or it doesn't, I'm paraphrasing you can at least be like, man, I gave that a shot.
100%.
You know?
I still stand by that. I think that's one of the biggest mottos, I guess, is the way to call it, that I live by is I don't want regrets at the end of my life. I don't want to be at my deathbed and think, what if I had given it, 10 more percent? That's why I try to do as much as I can and dive deep into everything I can, fully give it everything I have, especially with acting, whatever it is, content, fitness. So I don't have regrets later on thinking, what if I had given it a little bit more? What could have happened? I don't want those thoughts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more of I just want to do everything. I give it everything I have right now. So that way I don't have to think about it later. There's no what ifs. So that's something I still live by. I love that.
Yeah, it's freeing too.
It is.
Because you know that whatever happens, it's like, well, I did all I could do.
Right.
Like I really couldn't have done much
Right.
more. Sure, you can look at it and like, oh, well, I could have done this instead of that. But at the end of the day, you only have so much energy too.
Yeah.
We only have so much energy. And it's like, if you don't put that energy into your thing,
Right.
it's going to get put into someone else's or something else's.
Very
So
true.
you might as well try to put it into your thing.
Exactly. And then that's the same thing with anything that you're doing, content creation, fitness, acting, whatever it is, whatever your career goals are. If you're able to put 110% into that, then you're gonna feel better about that. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to linger in your mind, or you're never gonna wonder later on, what if I could have done a little bit more, or what if I had done this, that. None of that. I don't want any what ifs. So it's like something that, take it with a grain of salt, because you never know, what could have done. But if you live with that mentality that you're always going to be putting 110% into everything that you do, you'll be way more successful. You'll go a lot farther than a lot of other people who tend to just, I don't know. It just depends on, what your mindset is. It's like a mindset shift for me.
Absolutely. And you were talking about taking risks before we started recording.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what's your take on that?
man. So I guess this chapter of my life is a lot about taking risks, because I think in the past I used to be very um, quote unquote safe, in terms of more reserved and just doing everything by the book. Like, okay, what's the next step in life after college? Get a job. You do next thing. You just, try to live your life like that. But my issue was, I didn't want to do everything traditional. For some reason, something within me just wasn't, I'm not okay with just a 9 to 5 job, or just a regular whatever it is. I wanted something more for my life. I wanted to build something more, have some sort of a legacy that I leave behind, not just follow everyone else's footsteps. I wanted to create my own path. So that's something where even I'm still trying to, push myself to take more risks, try new things, different things. Even if I'm terrible at it, at least I tried it. I gave it everything I've got. That's fine. Even if I failed, at least I know I tried it. And the more risks you take, the less afraid you are of things.
Mm.
The less fear you have of, you know, for public speaking. Like we were talking about public
Yeah, yeah.
speaking, right? That was one of my biggest fears too, growing up, was public speaking. I hated talking in front of people. I hated that. Like I would get nervous. I would just start, blabbering and stuttering, and it was one of my biggest fears. But the more I did it, that was honestly one of the reasons I got into acting class too, was trying to get rid of that fear of being in front of people. And I chose a career that was all about being in front of people. It was all about, acting is all about, performing and being someone you're not. And so it was just slowly taking more risks. I feel like the more risks you take, the less afraid you are of things um, stopping you, and you'll be less inhibited. At least that's my perspective so far on it.
That's very interesting. And I think this would be a good transition to, I have always heard with cold plunges, it makes you more of a risk taker.
Yeah. Yep.
Because so you have a show.
Yeah.
It's called Cold Talk.
Yep.
And thank you so much for having me on.
Of course. It was a pleasure.
I had a blast. And for anyone listening or watching, what an experience it was. Like, you do it right.
I'm glad.
You
Thank you.
do it right. I get there. Please fill anything I miss in this, but I get there. We have a nice little conversation. You show me the cold plunge, and at first, I'd seen you do it a ton of times on social media.
Sure.
And I'm like, I knew it was going to be cold.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between knowing and then actually feeling the cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you go in there and, I do the cold plunge, then afterwards we're talking and you're like, hey, you want some breakfast? We have breakfast. We're sitting, we're talking about mindset and all of this. So,
yeah.
dude, it was a phenomenal experience. So
I'm glad
thank
to
you
hear
for that.
Of course. And I think that's what I like. I like to host. I like to give people experiences. For me, cold plunge has changed my life in a way. It's given me something that's helped me in terms of meditation, in terms of clearing my mind every single morning, in terms of recovery, in terms of just putting myself out there and not taking a risk. Basically, these cold talks that I've been doing, they started off with just me trying to give myself pep talks and trying to get into the ice bath because it was so freaking cold. So I would just talk to myself and record it just for fun, just to document my journey since day one. So I was just recording it, documenting it, and actually my girlfriend Hannah, she was the one who said, you should put these on, just like post them, see what happens. So then I started posting them, and it was, in a way, it was freeing, because I didn't look at, how many likes I got. I didn't look at any comments. I was doing it for me. This is all just for my own to prove it to myself that I can do it. Like I don't have to worry about what other people are thinking about me. Let me just do it for myself. If you're always creating for other people, I feel like you can get into this trap or this cycle of, okay, what do people want? What do people want? What do people want? Right? But if you do it for yourself, I'm just going to do it for myself. I'm doing cold talks. I'm giving myself a pep talk. Hey, if it helps you, great. If not, that's fine too. Move on, scroll past, whatever. But at least it's helping me in some way. And as I grow, I'm hoping it's inspiring or motivating other people. And the rest is just, let's just see what happens. Just go with the flow.
Already, you just dropped an atomic bomb of a gem. Eric Sarich, what's going on?
What's up? The ones and twos over here.
We all go way back. Yeah, 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I agree with you completely on the whole posting for social media type of thing, because I just feel the algorithms are constantly changing.
Yep.
And you got to do this on a Tuesday at 10 o'clock if you really want to go viral. And it's like, dude, it doesn't even become you anymore.
Right.
You know, so I love that you're just doing that just for you. And you are consistent as heck, man.
Thank you.
I mean, how many have you done now?
As of today, it's 169.
And you come out with it that day.
I do, yeah.
I mean, after we had done it, he's like, yeah, it'll be out today. And then, sure enough, a couple hours later.
Yeah. I like to keep it as realistic as possible, as real time. I'm not trying to edit it so much that it looks not as real as it was when it was filmed. It's very close to it. All I do is just cut out, here and there just to make it fit into that time frame that I'm trying to fit it into. But besides that, I like to keep it on that schedule of wake up, sometimes it's later in the day. I've been doing it sometimes later in the day. Either day, I just like to post it the same day. It doesn't matter what time. I'm not trying to look at the algorithm. If the algorithm's in my favor, great. If not, I'm not worried about that. You know what I mean? And just do it for you. The more I feel like you create for yourself out of pure passion, the more it's going to work in your favor. And the more you try to create for other people, the harder it's going to be for you to keep going. Because otherwise I would not have, if I was trying to make content for other people 169 days in a row, I would have gone crazy. Like, how am I going to change this up today? Like, what am I going to do different today? No, I'm not trying to worry about any of that. I'm just trying to do it for myself. This is my therapy in a way. Working out's one of my other forms of therapy. I do it in the morning so it clears my mind. So it's just, it's helping me, and I'm hoping it inspires others. And people have been reaching out and telling me how inspirational and motivational it's been for them. So I'm happy to hear that. I hope I can continue to do that,
Dude, I love it. And then besides doing the show, like what benefits have you seen happen in your life by doing the cold plunge? And what benefits are there to a cold plunge in general? And then what have you seen in your own life?
Totally. That's a great question. I get that all the time. So the way I've been doing it in the morning. So what I've done so far is I've been able to replace caffeine with cold plunges. So it's been helping me wake up in the morning. It gives you that boost of energy. You can do it different times of the day. Like I've done it after working out, for example. I had a neck injury recently where it was really good for the circulation. So cold plunges are really good for circulation, really good for recovery, anxiety, sleep. For me, it's been helping me, honestly, forcing me to meditate, because I get in there and you have to clear your mind. You know this by experience now. If your mind's scattered, the more scattered you are in your mind, the more likely you are to freak out in there and want to get out in the first minute. The more calmer you are, the more likely you are to stay longer, because it's all, of course, there's a physical element to it. You have to be able to bear the cold for a little bit, but after, I would say the first 30 seconds, it's all a mental game. It's just how calm can you be inside, and it's going to reflect on the outside. You know what I mean? So it's really good it's been helping me with meditation, with pain recovery, with soreness, circulation, especially for injuries. It's really good because it's good for it. What it does is when you go in there, all your blood vessels constrict, right? So all your circulation stops. It's going straight to your heart, to your vital organs. As soon as you get out, you have to let yourself naturally warm up. You can't go into a hot shower or a hot sauna. Some people do that. That's called contrast therapy, but you have to do that in cycles. But if you just do cold plunges, you get out, let yourself naturally warm up, and that's the circulation part. Now your body is pushing blood to everywhere. So it's really good for longevity, for overall health. And it's obviously you got to do it consistently. The more consistent you are, just like with anything else, the more you're going to see the results and more it's going to work for you in your favor.
Dude, I like want to get in a cold plunge like right now. Not only because it's been really hot.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
This way,
Yeah.
but it definitely. I mean, you have an awesome one too. Like you have
Thank
like
you.
what exactly is that one that you
It's
have
from
again?
iSpod. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
They're a company, a really cool company. They sponsored me the iSpod. At first, actually, if you go back and see my very first videos, I just started doing it with the pod. I had a pod, and I figured out a spot. The only spot in my house that it fit was in my balcony. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna put it in the balcony. I had to find a way to fill it up. I was bringing buckets of water from my kitchen to the iSpot like 20, 30 times just to fill it up. And then I would have to get ice every single day. And I was trying to, so it honestly, it's cool if you see my videos from the very beginning to now. It's been a journey because I've improved and made things more and more efficient every time. I started with just ice, going to Costco, every single day, trying to get some ice. And that figured out very quickly that was getting very expensive. That was getting, it was a form of a hassle than a good thing for me. So then I discovered a trick. You could fill water bottles, get a whole bunch of water bottles that you just have lying around, plastic water bottles, fill them with water, put them in your freezer. And next day it turns into ice. And still, you just put them in your tub. So they're reusable ice almost. So it
Oh,
evolved to using water bottles. I had a ton of water bottles in my freezer. My girlfriend was so mad at me because she could not use the freezer. The entire freezer was full of water bottles. And then I came across these ice molds. Ice molds, they're basically like a tub where you can fill water, a bigger tub of a material where you can squeeze them out. I'm sure you've seen them for like ice trays or whatever.
okay.
And they can hold up to 13 pounds of ice in one ice pod, the one at least that I had. So I got like 2 or 3 of those on top of the water bottles to make it cool faster. Because now I was trying to get it colder faster because after I put ice in there, it would take a little bit, take 10, 20 minutes to cool it down. And I was also doing it in the winter, so that helped. In the summers right now, if I was doing it, no way. It would have probably taken way longer and a lot more ice. So then I started using ice molds. And from ice molds, eventually I got in touch with this brand and they hooked me up with a chiller. That just changed the game completely.
Changer.
Complete game changer. Now it's at the temperature that I want 24/7 whenever I need it. And just way more efficient, way quicker. I don't have to worry about it being, not cold enough or too cold. No. My challenge is to get it colder. I'm slowly going down by degrees, see how much I can handle it. So that's the new new challenge for me, I guess.
Wow. So you've earned your way there. Like,
Yeah. It's been a journey, but it's been rewarding ever. Now, but when I first started, like 50 degrees Fahrenheit was my goal, just to keep it at 50 degrees. But I couldn't even do that. So I would around 55. I would be between 55 and 60 degrees. Now that's too warm for me. I have to be 45 minimum. And now I'm trying to go lower to around 41. So it's like, it's crazy how your body adapts, your body changes, it becomes more efficient. It's like, man, you just don't even know your full potential until you put yourself into that kind of scenario, right? We were going back to what we were talking about, risks. You don't realize your full potential until you take that risks. You don't even know if you're capable of whatever that is until you do it, until you go through the experience. Then you know, oh man, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Or it could have been, all right, that is as bad as I thought, but I could handle it. You just learn a lot more about yourself the more risks you take.
growth lives outside the comfort zone.
That's a great way to put it.
And
Yep.
you may have mentioned this. So what was that first moment where you're like, I'm gonna try to do an ice bath? Like,
Yeah.
was there a specific like, oh yeah, I think I'm gonna try that?
So that's a good question. The first reason that I started doing ice baths was an injury that I had in my neck. So I was trying to figure out natural ways to heal myself without having to go through surgeries or a lot of medication. I just wanted some way to naturally heal myself. So then I was doing a lot of research. I was trying different things. That's when I got the sauna before the ice plunge. I was doing saunas, and I came across cold therapy, and then ice baths and cold plunges. Looked more into that, and then I had an ice pad, like a tub, laying around. So I was like, okay, let me just do this. Let me just try it out. Let me take that risk. Why not? So I did that, put some ice in there. And the more I read about it, the more it said, the more consistent you are, the better. So then at first I was not consistent. I was doing it like whenever I felt the pain, but the pain didn't subside as much. So over time, I gave myself the challenge of trying to do it very consistently and disciplined about it. That's when this started. It was mainly from an injury, leading to me trying to be more disciplined with myself, and all of it came together, I guess, in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been a journey.
Yeah, man. No, I know. I love it. I was randomly thinking, you go surfing in the mornings. Is the water really
Oh, wow,
cold
really?
for that?
Yeah, I was
Or
trying to
if it's
think.
like
I think
similar to like cold plunging.
Dude, that
in a
must
way.
be cold water too.
well, we use wetsuits, but
Okay.
yeah, I think it gets down in the 60s. It was May or June actually. June was the coldest this year, believe it or not.
Wow.
And it was 60. It was in like I think 65 or lower 60s.
That's
It was
cold.
cold, and I already switched to and like so I'm just trying to think here. This sounds nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's almost have you ever tried it before?
No,
You should come on one time. I'd love to have you
I
on.
was thinking about asking about
Yeah,
it.
please do. I think I told Sam to
Yeah.
tell you
Yeah.
and
Eric next
Erica
door.
next door.
We're
Exactly.
gonna remind him when we see him
Yeah,
after
please.
this.
You guys should come through, try it. If anything, you had an experience. You'll know if you like it or not, whatever it is. But I think it's gonna help you no matter what.
I mean, I've done one, and my friend had like the trough in his porch,
Yeah.
and then he had a bunch of ice, and I don't know how cold it
There
actually
you go.
got, but we went in for like a couple minutes once, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. So, but like, I'd like to do like an official one where it's even colder or
Yeah,
whatever, and
yeah.
like you have like a time limit.
Yeah, I
And
do. Yeah.
It's like hot ones. You're asking me questions.
Yeah, that is.
Right,
it's like
right.
the opposite of hot ones. It's cold.
Cold talk. That's why. Yeah.
Cold talk.
It just came about. I didn't have a title for it at all until almost episode 50, I think.
Really?
I just did 50 of them on my own. And I was like, let's just invite people to come on. I think it wasn't until episode 52 or something was the first guest that I brought on.
Dude, I love it, man. I think it's
fun.
great now hearing more of the story and the evolution of it. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
reminding me of the podcast in a way. Like you just start doing it. You have no idea what you're doing.
Right.
It's all grassroots, like
Yeah.
low budget, whatever.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
it
yeah.
just evolves the more you get
Exactly.
it and you understand it. And I think it's awesome. Vin left his water right there. I was
Oh,
wondering
yeah.
if we could grab that. All this water talk.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Eric.
But that's so true. It's crazy to see the evolution, even with you, right? Like you guys have been going at it almost 102 episodes, right?
Yeah. Not to compare Eric to what was the name of the chiller you have now?
Oh, Ice Pod or
The ice pod that automatically does everything
Chiller.
for you.
It's called a chiller. Yeah.
So before I was trying to make blocks of ice.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a terrible analogy.
No, I get what you're doing.
I was trying to make blocks of ice and
Yeah.
trying to do all this stuff, and
Sure.
it worked.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, this isn't sustainable.
You need a chiller.
Then the chiller came through.
Saved the day, right?
It's like, now I don't have to worry about.
I mean, that's you need to have people, and I love that you found Eric and you guys have that team
Yeah.
because you got to find people who are good at things that you're not.
you have to.
You have to have a team. Like no one successful did it on their own. You know, everyone had a team of people who are smarter than them in different areas, and that's where success comes from. I feel like you got to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you in different places, and you got to know your weaknesses and be okay with that, and let other people help you. And so that's awesome. I'm glad you found Eric, and you guys are helping each other. That's awesome. That's the goal, man.
Yeah, no,
I love that.
I think it was Warren Buffett who said, paraphrasing him, but he said, yeah, he just hired people smarter than him, like basically for everything.
Right.
He's like, yeah, of course, he's really smart too.
Of course, but
As far as running companies and
Yeah.
divisions and
you have
different
to.
sections, you
Right.
you have to hire the best people for the best job. And it's always a lot of those entrepreneur clips that you'll see on TikTok or
Yeah.
Instagram interviewing. A lot of them say delegation was
Yep.
one of the biggest things that helped
Totally.
them scale, because they go, you can't, sure, you might get to 1 million on your own, possibly, but to get to 25, 30 million or whatever, you're going to need a full team of people
Yeah.
to do that.
And you got to, know when to do that as well. Take the risk and just hire people, whatever. You might go in the hole in the beginning, but it'll pay off in the long run for sure. I
Yeah.
think that's the key.
We're just wanting to know when that long run date.
Yeah. Aren't we all trying to figure out when is that? When's
Waiting
that big
for
break?
that payback. No, but it's you.
Yeah.
It's a mind game too, man. And Eric and I were talking about this before you came over. Dude, it's such a mental game because, and we were talking about this too. It's like you'll psych yourself out.
Yeah.
The mind will psych yourself out.
Dude.
But the reality is you're still breathing. You're still going. You're still doing it.
Totally.
And as long as you still have a pulse in the game, you're still there.
Dude.
You only
amazing.
quit when you stop.
Exactly.
Wait a minute. You only stop when you quit.
No, I got
it
you.
only ends when you quit.
Right.
Unless you are forced to end. And at that point, well, there's nothing you can do.
You gave it everything you had.
You gave it everything you got. Back to the theory we're talking. But
Right.
it's not an easy road. Like it's
not.
Very challenging road.
That's why a lot of people, aren't able to sustain it. And which I understand. That's why there's no big reward for an easy path. If you want the biggest reward, you got to take the biggest risks. Do things that normally people aren't doing, create your own path like you're doing. And also, like, going back to what you were saying, limitations are a lot of times we put limitations on ourselves without even realizing it. Someone might, a lot of people think, okay, well, what if this happens, that happens before you even start? But you might as well take the action and do it to figure out if you can even do it before even, without trying to psych yourself out. Because if you psych yourself out, you're not even going to know your potential, So limitations a lot of the times are self-imposed, which I've realized that too. Like, I almost stopped myself from doing a lot of things because I psych myself out of it. And that's not good. That's why I've been trying to be on that chapter of trying to take more risks, because I know a lot of the times it's just me in my mind. And a lot of times, a lot of people don't even care about the things that you probably think they care about. They're just going about their day, thinking about their own things. So you have to kind of let go of that. And that takes practice. It's easier said than done, but it's limitations. I've realized a lot more recently too, that they're all self-imposed. Like we are all capable of a lot more than you think. It's just, how much are you willing to go after it? How much risk are you willing to take? And sometimes they're not even risks. They're just your self-consciousness or whatever it is, your confidence is stopping you from doing something that you probably are fully capable to do.
That's a very good point. I don't think I've heard someone put it that way. Like, a lot of things that you think is a risk really isn't a risk sometimes. It's
Yeah.
like, no, dude, you're just in your head about that. Like,
Yeah, man, it's crazy, especially us actors. We're in the head all the time. So,
oh yeah.
It's easy to get stuck in there. And I feel like sometimes you got to stop and take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And you'll realize that, wow, I've come this, first of all, like, you've come so far already. You just got a little bit farther to go. Just keep at it. You survived however long right now. So you've gone through all the shit that you think you weren't able to go through before. So why do you think you're not going to be capable enough to go through the stuff that's coming up? It's the fear that stops us. That's what I realized, at least. A lot of the times it's fear that stops you from doing things that you really want to do.
Yeah, and it's what's the saying? We didn't come this far just to come this far, and then there's another one. It's farther to go back than to continue the path at some point.
Yeah, that's true too.
It's
Yeah,
I have to tell myself that mantra every day. It's
right.
You look, dude, you've gone this far.
Yeah,
You might as well keep going.
exactly. And you might as well see what's at the end of that road. You've come so far already. Why stop halfway?
And sometimes opportunities while you're on that road may come up that you didn't expect.
Oh, totally. That's what I love about that too.
Well, like your cold talk, for
Yeah.
example. You last time I was talking to you 2 years ago, and that didn't even exist.
No,
None of that. Yeah.
That didn't exist until this year almost. It was crazy. Beginning of this year. And it was something that came about. There was no planning and going into it. It was like I just took that risk. I'm like, I'm just gonna start posting these, see what happens. Not look at the comments, not look at the likes, engagement, whatever. I don't care about any of that anymore. I'm just gonna do it for myself. And I think when you drive that from pure passion, you have a whole different perspective on it. You're not, inhibited by things that you may have been in the past. Before, I was trying to figure out, you got to think about a lot of things before you post on social media. There's the algorithm, there's the timing, there's, how do I look? The self-conscious about that, like So many factors to think about. But when you free yourself out of all of that and you're just doing it almost honestly like the way I'm doing it, if you just do it for yourself and you don't even worry about, anything else, that pretend no one's even watching it. I'm just gonna look at it. Do I like what's on screen? Great. Okay, it passes. Let's go. Next. You know what I mean? It's like you have to get out of your own way almost. At least for me, that was my biggest challenge and still is. And I feel like that's something, it's always a work in progress. Because every day you're discovering new things about yourself that either you thought in the past that you weren't capable of doing, or now you're in a different place where you have new challenges that you're facing that you have to continuously get past them. So it's a work in progress, I feel like.
It's almost like you've created somewhat of an online diary.
Yeah.
It's for you, and yes, you're posting it publicly,
Yeah,
but
right.
like you said, you're not reading comments, you're not looking at likes, so
Right.
you're truly just doing it for you, but you're allowing others to peer in.
Right.
And I think those are sometimes the accounts people become the most fascinated with because they're real. It's real.
Right.
You
I
know?
think the less fabricated things have to be, the less edited, the more real. I feel like what people want right now is more realness. Like what you're doing right now with this podcast, it's real. We're just talking, we're having a conversation. I feel like people just want to peek into someone else's life and just get a glimpse of it. And not something that you're doing for social media. You're doing it for yourself. We're having a conversation. It just happens to be recorded. You guys want to watch it, check it out. What we were talking about, great. It's just something that's going to happen no matter what, without cameras on or off.
I'm going to clip that, and that was perfect what you just said, because you're exactly right. Because
Yeah.
that's how this thing birthed, and it's a fine line, because you want things to grow, right? You want
Sure.
things to keep going and progress, but at the same time, you don't want to give up the integrity of what it is that you start. Like, for example, with your cold talk, if someone all of a sudden says, well, hey man, you should start doing the sauna because the sauna is going to do this. Well, that'd be hot talk or hot ones or
right.
hot 100, whatever I'm saying. Like,
honestly,
yeah.
bringing up sauna, that was a funny thing. So I have been trying. This has opened a door for me where I've been trying different kinds of recovery therapies. So I've done contrast therapy, which is where you go from hot to cold multiple times. So I went to a couple locations where they had a sauna and an ice bath right next to each other, and you'd go 10 minutes in the sauna and go straight into the cold plunge for 3 minutes after that, go back into the sauna for, again, 2 cycles. And it's good. It's another form of recovery. It's good for circulation and recovery, pain, all the similar benefits as just doing a cold plunge. It's just a different way of recovering. And those are always good too. And I've also recently incorporated red light therapy, which is mainly for your skin health. It reduces inflammation, and it's really good for just all of these things. You got to do it. What I've realized is you got to do these consistently. It's like you got to make them part of your routine, just like working out. You got to make it a part of your routine, a part of your lifestyle. Don't make it a chore. Like if it's something you already are going to be doing, that's the best way to do it. It's not something that you have to go out of your way to do. Just make it a lifestyle choice. That's how working out is still something that I do, is because it became a part of my lifestyle. If it was something that I dreaded doing, or I'd really, wasn't something that I could easily fit into my life, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it. It's something that I knew that in the beginning, so I turned it into a lifestyle choice where now it's a part of my daily routine. If I don't give myself an option. If I gave myself an option, us humans, we tend to go with the easiest option. So if I gave myself an option, I would probably not go. I don't give myself an option. It's either do it or do it. There's no other option. So it forces me to get into that discipline. Similar, I use the same principle for the cold talks for the ice baths. I have no option but to do it. No matter, as long as I do it once a day, I'm fine with that. It doesn't have to be in the morning. It could be in the afternoon. Sometimes life happens. We all get that. But as long as you are disciplined enough to find time to make it a priority, you have time to do it. And a lot of people, even working out, I know we both relate on that a lot. Working out, a lot of people have the biggest excuse that I've heard is, I don't have time to fit it in my schedule. I'm too busy or whatnot. Sure, I agree. I mean, everyone's busy, right? Everyone's got shit going on. But if it's a priority to you, you will find time to make it happen. It's just a matter of if it's a priority or not.
Absolutely. Just when you really shift your mind to this body is my engine.
Yeah,
The better I take in the mind, the better I take care of these things, the better I am going to operate and the more efficient I will be.
exactly.
And I'm just going to feel better
Right.
doing it.
Right. And you have one body, so you might as well take care of that, the best you can. Because if you get all the money in the world and you can't enjoy that wealth, what's the point? All right. And if you're old or you're hurting or you can't move, well, there's no point in all that wealth. You can enjoy it to a limit. But if you feel great and you have that wealth, then the world's your playground. You know what I mean? So like take care of the most basic things that you already have that's free given to you, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to help you go farther in life. At least that's how I see it. Yeah.
Now we're getting to the good stuff. So Vin, what's the fitness routine
Yes.
looking like
Fitness.
these days?
Well, all right. So Vin, remember when we did our movie Mushroom Connoisseur like
Yeah.
5 years ago?
Dude, I remember in Joshua Tree,
In
right?
Joshua
in that
Tree.
hot,
Whoa,
yeah.
what is this? Like, what?
We did a film,
We need
my
a
first
backstory.
film,
Yeah.
like real film. It was pretty fun. But yeah, back then you told me like, yeah, I'm pretty much just maintaining is what you would say with like your fitness. So like,
Yeah.
I'm curious, are you still mostly just maintaining, and what does that look like? Like, are you going in kind of recycling the same workouts? Are you still trying to level up at your certain exercises, or
Sure.
like, what's it look like?
Dude, it's I feel like I've learned a lot more about myself in terms of, what's been working for my body and what's not. And it's a work in progress always. But in terms of working out, the number one thing is being disciplined about that, trying to fit my workout in no matter what's going on in my schedule. No matter, if you have long days or not, or plan smart ahead. Like if I know I'm going to be, working 12 hours for the next couple of days, well, I'm going to plan ahead. I'm going to make sure I don't skip a day until those 2 days. And so I can't skip those 2 days. I'll use those as my break and then pick it back up the next day. So being disciplined is key. Being consistent is key. In terms of the exercises and everything, it's before in the beginning, I used to try to just go heavy and everything. And I think that's a misconception a lot of people have still. You can, of course, that's one way to do it. But as you learn more about training and try to train smarter, you don't have to go as heavy. It's all about time under tension, right? The more time your muscle's under tension, it's breaking down. It's going to work. So you can do, for example, I think I mentioned this last time you were there too. Say, for example, bench press, right? You can go to your max, and sure, that's going to help you, but you're at a point where you can risk injury now. If I'm trying to train smarter, I'm trying to train for longevity. I'm not trying to train to, I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't need to be. If that's a role that came about, sure, everything changes then. But for right now, I'm just trying to train smarter so I can last longer. So in terms of for doing that, you can do higher reps, or what I've more discovered is you can really focus on the quality of your reps, which means, for example, you're doing bench press. You are really going slow on the negatives. People forget about the negatives. Negatives is where you go back down, right? Really go slow on the negatives. Pause at the top. Wherever you're flexing at the top, for bench press, it's at the top here. Really squeeze at the top. Squeeze your muscle. Really get that mind-muscle connection and slow in the negatives. So you're getting really higher quality reps. You're not just using momentum to just get through the workout. So if you do that combined with higher reps, that basically replaces having more weight. Does that make sense? So you're getting really high quality reps. You don't have to worry about increasing weight as much, especially right now. I've been working out at home too. So I don't have, access to so much weight. So that's forced me to really think about, okay, how can I make this an efficient workout and still get the same quality workout as I would at the gym? So that's when I came across more quality reps, work on your negatives, pauses, and it really, you feel it, man. You feel it. And you do supersets. It depends on like if you're tight on time, supersets are a great way to go about it. Just be more efficient. Back-to-back exercises like biceps, triceps. back to back, I would do that'd be one set. One superset is one set. One round is one set, and you repeat that like 2 or 3 supersets, and you burnt out. You'd be done in like an hour. So I'm not trying to work out for like 2 or 3 hours. I've never done that. I like to be efficient with my workouts, with my reps, so I can get in and get out. I'm not trying to be distracted there. It's like just be focused. I think focus is the key too. What about you? What have you noticed so far?
Oh man, this is should get ready for a 4 hour. No, well, one quick question:
Yeah.
how many reps, like on a bench press, are you going to be doing when you're talking about going slower down, less weight? Like, what would be an example of like how many reps should you be doing? Should you still be increasing weight a little bit, or are you just picking the same weight and no, I'm going to do 3 sets of 10?
So it depends. When I first started, I could barely do. I would just put a 45 on. Just like that's what I usually warm up at with 10 reps, right? Now start with the lightweight, and instead of trying to go to 15 reps on that, do 10 really good reps. Slow, pause, the top, pause, really, really focus on the reps, and you'll know. You'll know how much you can do. But if you can get to 10, that's great. If you're trying to go higher reps, try to get to 15. I like to do 15 is a good solid number for me. Between 10 and 15, if you can maintain that range. But as you increase weight, obviously your reps are going to go down. And especially if you're doing slower reps, it's going to be even harder. It's almost like an ego buster in the beginning, because you're going to be doing much less weight than you think until you build your endurance up a little bit, build your strength up in your muscles, and then you can increase weight a little bit more. But you don't have to, is what I mean. You can be on the safer route. You can still get a quality workout with just focusing on the reps and the time.
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up, because today actually I went a little bit lighter on squats. I'm like, you know what? Let me just see how low I can go.
Yeah.
And then just really, because I've told you, I'm cutting caffeine out, and
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
actually
yeah.
stopped wearing the headphones to the gym.
Yeah, good.
And I love pumping iron to music, man. I love hitting the treadmill to music, but
Right.
I just want to detox and get my natural dopamine back, and
Yeah.
get those serotonin levels back to their natural states, instead of just consuming media at like every
Yeah.
given turn.
Right.
And it's difficult so far, but
Sure.
I'm noticing I'm concentrating more on the form
Yeah.
and making more of that mind muscle connection. Because even today doing the squats, I'm like, let me just go down slow, try to just do perfect form, go back up. I got to number 10. My quads were burning.
Right.
And what's crazy is I did work up the weight a little bit each time, but
Yeah.
I felt it was so much more. I was doing more quality sets
Yeah.
than just, let's just throw a bunch of weight on here and,
Yeah.
pump up, get big.
Of course. I mean, it depends on your goal too,
Mhm.
right? If you're trying to increase muscle mass, gain weight, you have to do more compound exercises like squats, bench presses, full body days, to really work everything almost every single day, because you're trying to bulk up really, really quickly, I guess. But my workouts recently are like focused, 1 to 2 muscle groups a day, no more than that. So I can hyper focus on just those 2 muscle groups. So you do like 6 exercises per muscle group. It's like for chest, for example, you would do incline for your upper chest, normal bench press for your mid chest, and decline for your lower chest. There you're hitting all angles. So you're not, you're getting a well-rounded physique, but at the same time, you can increase more of the reps. You're getting more shredded in a way. You're not trying to bulk up, but you're trying to lean out. That also comes with diet, of course. That's a whole nother game. But
We'll get there.
yeah, it's in terms of just purely working out. If you hyper focus on 1 to 2 muscle groups at one workout session, it's more efficient. And also you're really breaking those muscles just then. You don't have to worry about, working everything else out. So I like hyper focusing. I like focusing on 1 to 2 muscle groups. I do abs every day. That's just a given, just for me, because your abs can handle a lot more.
So not every other day, every day.
No, I do it every day, but it depends on your tolerance level. I think abs can because your abs are working 24/7. Every time you stand up, they're just working just to hold yourself up, so they can handle a lot more. You can put them on a lot more resistance. You should almost be training them just like you would train any other muscle. Sometimes you can put weight on them. so they can handle a lot more. So that's why I do abs, but I don't do the same exercise every single day. For example, there's abs also have different parts, right? You can train your upper abs, your lower abs, your obliques. So that's 3 days already. So I do one day I focus on upper abs, next day lower abs, next day obliques, and the cycle restarts. So essentially, you're not working abs, all the abs every time, but you're still working abs every day. Does that make sense?
That makes man, I'm pumped to do abs now. Like every single workout.
Should we press pause and go hit the gym real quick?
Let's go hit the gym.
Let's finish this podcast at the gym. Yeah. All right.
Wow, no, this is great, man. So I'm going to tell you my routine, but real quick before I do. So I have heard it from more than one source now that incline bench is more important than flat bench. Have you heard that?
I have.
So I have now been, and you know what's crazy is every time you go to the gym, I keep saying crazy, it's not crazy. It's you go to the gym, bench is always taken.
Yeah.
The incline bench is open a lot.
Yeah.
So it's actually been a relief to go to the gym and just head straight to the incline. I don't have to wait for the bench and that. And yeah, like for me, I can't do as much weight.
Yep.
But again, even on my last time I did, it was yesterday. I was just more slow and controlled.
Yeah.
Just trying to, again, mind the muscle.
Yeah.
But I do believe like hitting all declines, I think the one that gets ignored a lot.
It does. And a lot of people, incline, that's a good thing you brought that up. I start with incline too, because
Okay.
that's something that I heard too. And I not recently, for a long time, I've discovered that's my weaker spot. Mid chest has always been, I can build that up more than I can incline. Incline's working your upper chest, and that's what gives you that shredded look, because it's really forcing those striations in your
Incline.
upper incline. Yeah, you can do them on a bench. You can do them dumbbell. Free weights are the best. I love old school free weights.
Oh, me
I don't
too.
care about machines as much. If I can have a couple dumbbells, some barbells, some plates, I'm good, man. That's why I can do everything I can at my house, because I have all that. So I don't need machines. The only machine, if anything, I would need is like a leg press machine. That's like probably or a calf machine. Those are the things you can't really. You can still make it work with dumbbells. You can do like step it, calf raises, and all that. But everything else you can do with dumbbells, barbells. Pretty much, you can hit every muscle: shoulders, back, chest, arms. Yep. Basically.
I heard, and you have quite the setup, by the way. I would
Thank you.
You have
Thank
a
you.
dream.
It took me a while to build that. But
Yeah,
thank
but
you.
it's amazing. Yeah, someone said once, I heard, if you could only do 3 exercises in the gym, they said bench press, squats, pull-ups,
Okay.
because you're going to be, if you can only pick 3,
Yeah.
and maybe some would argue other ones, but so the routine I got going on right now for the moment, Mondays, chest, shoulder.
Okay.
It's weird because sometimes I don't know if I should be doing triceps on chest days,
Uh-huh.
because they call them push-pull days, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But I'll do chest, shoulders, maybe triceps, then the abs. Tuesday, legs. Wednesday's hot yoga day.
Okay. Nice.
So I go do the hot yoga, and it's they do abs and all that
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
there. It just stretches everything out.
It's good.
It's that sauna like,
Yeah.
which is great. Thursdays I go to biceps and back,
Okay.
and then I'll either do a nature hike on Friday, and then go lift legs again Saturday, and then Sunday, quote unquote, off day will just be longer walks. But
That's good. That's a good split you have right now. So what about triceps? Did you put that in there?
so triceps, they either go on Monday or
Oh,
I get
okay.
them in on the bicep back day.
Yeah.
Where triceps, I have heard, they're 2/3 of your arm, where
Yeah.
biceps 1/3 of it. So that's why Monday I actually hit those pretty hard, because I
Okay.
haven't been hitting these as hard.
Yeah.
But another rule I have for myself is 50 pull-ups.
Oh, nice.
I try to do 50. So I do Monday, I'll do 50. And then Thursday on my big bicep back day, I do weighted pull-ups. I got the weight
Oh,
belt,
hell yeah.
throw on either a 25 or a 35, do those.
That's awesome.
And then I'll do another 50 on like Saturday.
Yeah.
But I think that's made a tremendous difference, just widening out the back
I'm sure.
and just building that. Because that's, again, I was telling you as we were walking up, I ignored that for years.
You're back?
And yeah, until I threw my back out really
Oh,
bad
that's
one
right.
time.
That's right.
And I'm like, okay, not doing that again.
Yeah. It's
How'd you
almost
throw it out?
Something random. Like I was going down to pick something up and I just tweaked it.
Ooh.
Not to say you can't do that without
Right.
or even lifting, but it just showed me like, man, my back's weak.
Yeah.
So Because back when I was younger too, all you want to do is like chest and
All the muscles, like
biceps.
the shirtless muscle, the front muscles, right? We neglect the back ones.
And then legs. I mean, really, back and legs are
Yeah.
you have to do those. Those are
Right,
such
right.
core components.
I mean, your legs are your foundation. So, if your legs aren't working or strong enough to hold the rest of your body up, what's the point? You kind of have to build the foundation up to be able to support everything else that you got going on up here. Even with the back of your legs, a lot of people tend to forget like the hamstrings. You got to work all aspects of your legs, not just, the quads. People, I feel like, tend to forget, like you were just saying, like just the back side of everything, the reverse muscles. But you have to work, you have to be balanced, if that makes any sense. Back, if you're working chest all the time, you have to really work your back equally. Otherwise, you're going to be imbalanced. You're going to have imbalances in your muscles, in your joints. You're going to start feeling pain. Injuries a lot more likely. Just with legs too, not just quads, but also hamstrings, your glutes. Just be balanced. I think that's more is a great way to look at it too. As long as you're working both sides of every muscle, then you're good.
And cardio. What's your take on
Cardio.
cardio? I do cardio.
Yeah, I did
On
cardio today, 45 minutes on the bike and just straight on. What I like to do is fasted cardio. So without eating first thing in the morning, or after the ice bath now, before I eat anything, I like to do fasted cardio. That seems to be the most beneficial. Just I did a lot of research on that in terms of it burns the most fat, but also you're pushing yourself, you're getting to fat burning zone much quicker if you don't have anything in your stomach. So people recommend doing fasted cardio in the morning, before you work out, or you can do it. I've also in the past, even last year, even till like the beginning of this year, I was doing fasted workouts, and those got challenging because I was trying to lift without eating anything. But after a while, I started liking them because I had a clear mind. I wasn't feeling drowsy or tired. Your consciousness is so much clearer when you're fasted. There's so many benefits to doing like intermittent. Have you ever tried intermittent fasting?
Oh yeah.
There's so many benefits to doing that too. I kind of still do that too in terms of I don't eat until like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. And depends on when I eat the night before. But usually I try to wait until after lunch. I skip breakfast, or I have my meals. I still try to fit in my meals, but everything's after a certain time. And I try to work out in the mornings. If I do work out after, if I work out in the mornings, I have a tighter schedule. I'd work out fasted. So the rest of the day, all my calories are going towards, I already depleted myself. So it's like you time yourself too, in a way. Think about the timing of when you feed yourself, when you work out. Timing is kind of important. I feel like, the more you can tweak that, you have to work out for yourself, however it works for you, in terms of when you eat, how often you eat, what you eat, obviously. And when you work out, I like to time my meals around my workouts. So I'm trying to make my body as efficient as possible. You know what I mean? That's the goal. The more efficient your body's working, the more efficient your mind's working, the more things you can do. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm ready to hit the gym. I swear. And Eric, you throw your workout routine in here, what you got going on
Well,
right now.
like you said, it's a work in progress. My hypothesis at the moment is that it's in my best interest to work on those compounded things that you're talking about. So I'm trying to do full body. So whether it's a push,
Yeah.
I think you really want to be utilizing your back while pushing. That's something I was doing wrong or incorrectly. For years, I would lift and the bench press, I just could not get any higher. And I'm like, what is going on? And like, cause I was eating, and I'm like, I know it's something wrong with my form. And then what I realized is like, I just wasn't using the back like at all. And I was trying to, but I finally found a cue that worked for me. And then like I pretty much added like 15 pounds, like within like 3 weeks after that.
Amazing.
So, but yeah, I'm real big on that, on the compound lift. So it's just like benching. I actually really like seated military press as well. So it's almost like incline, but you're just going all the way up
for shoulders, right?
Yeah, but I think it also works the chest. Like for my hypothesis is like push and just building that strength. It's like any of it all works, all of it. Like
sure.
And then pull ups I'm big on, and then squats and leg press. And
Yeah.
I really right now I'm not really doing like the external stuff like bicep curls and tricep extensions or lat raises or anything like that. I'm just trying to get like just strength.
Yeah. So you're just trying to go for, do you have a goal in terms, are you trying to like increase
Yeah,
muscle mass?
I want to be able to bench press 225 twice like in a row by September, and by the time September's over, and then by New Year's I want to be able to rep it like 5 times. That's my
Nice.
goal.
Okay. That's
And I
cool.
think if I can do that, I'll be substantially stronger.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure. That's a good goal. I like that.
Hmm.
Nice. I don't, right now, in terms of, I used to count how much I would do, like weight wise, but I haven't even been counting. I'm just trying to like, my goal is just consistency. I think I've realized for me, what's been working is the more consistent I am, the more leeway I have in terms of like, if I don't eat right a couple days, it doesn't affect me. If I skip a couple days, it's fine. The more, as long as you do it correctly, majority of the time, you can have more leeway and your body won't be affected as much in terms of diet, in terms of recovery, working out. The more consistent you are, the better. So, I mean, that's great. I love your goal. I don't think I can even bench that. I don't.
I bet you could.
I don't. I don't. I don't think I go for weight like that, or at least I don't think about that. As long as I feel the burn, that's what I count for. That's what works for me. And as long as I'm sore the next day, if I'm not, all right, I did something wrong. I got to tweak my workout.
See, exactly. And that's why I thought I was doing it wrong all those years.
Yeah.
I'm like, my chest like really wasn't getting that sore.
Yeah.
And then once I found that cue, I'm like, oh, I actually feel it in my chest
Good.
now. And I like was excited.
Yeah.
And then I've lost it a couple of times. So it took me a while to like kind of pinpoint like exactly what I was doing. But like,
Right.
I think I got a grip on it now.
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. It's cool once you like figure it out, like whatever it is that you're trying to go after. If you figure out that tweak, that little slight change that you need, it just changes the game for you,
Different strokes for different folks, man.
Yeah.
You just got to tune in and find out what works for you. And I think really piggybacking on what Eric said, because, when I see the fitness guys on social media, I'm like, let me hear what they have to say. The
Sure.
next thing you know, I'm in a rabbit hole for 30 minutes,
Yeah,
like
of course.
watching all their clips.
Of
But
course.
they bring up a point that I think a lot of us forget about. They said that the muscles aren't built in the weight room. They're torn down in the weight room. They're built, which will be leading to your diet
100%.
and sleep and
Yep.
your rest recovery.
Yes.
And that has been a game changer too, just to remember that, like, okay, you're here to break them down.
Yeah.
But what comes next is just as important, if not more important.
Yeah.
I mean, the diet thing.
100%.
I mean, what do they say? Abs are made in the kitchen,
yeah.
type of thing. So,
Right.
okay.
Exactly.
What do you, and I'm with you on the intermittent fasting. So I have given myself more leeway. I used to do the 16-8 religiously.
Yeah.
I was even doing, I was even on the 1 meal a day at one point. I was
Wow.
doing that. But what I found, and this, I'm just speaking for me personally, first of all, you have to try to cram all that protein and all that,
And that
in
8-hour
like 1 or 2 meals,
Yeah.
which you can do. But I have found it to be a more, how do I say? It's more consistent and more doable to maybe wait till around that noon time.
Yeah.
But then I may eat up to 10 o'clock sometimes or have
Yeah.
a protein shake before bed. So I give myself wiggle room with that, but I will
Right.
stay clear usually in the mornings.
Yeah.
But I found that it's easier to get, and there's people that argue this online, like some say,
Right.
yes, you can get all the protein in one shot. Some people are like, no, you need frequency
Yeah.
for protein synthesis. And
Right.
I'm just
Right.
throwing words out there.
Yeah.
But I remember specifically talking with you before, like,
Yeah.
yeah, man, you gotta eat those meals like
Yeah.
multiple times a day. So where do you stand right now
So,
with diet and nutrition?
Right now, I try to fast in the mornings, unless right now I have to eat something before I work out. Otherwise, I feel like I've noticed before I used to be, we were just talking about this when I would fast until even do fasted workouts. And I've noticed my workouts weren't as I didn't have as much energy doing my workouts. So what I do is I at least try to eat a protein bar right before I work out. And that's it. Keep that protein bar, just give me a boost of energy to get through my workout. And then I start my meals. So sometimes, it's sometimes been all over the place. Like in terms of, sometimes I don't even start my meals until 5 p.m. It just depends on when my workouts are. It depends on what's going on during the day. But ideal situation, if I could ideally have, all the time in the world, I would wake up in the morning, do my ice bath, give it a couple hours, eat like a protein bar, work out around noon. By 2 o'clock, I'm done, fully showered, ready to go, eat my first meal at 2. And then I start eating every 2 or 3 hours to fit my protein in. But my meals are pretty, I try to be as clean as possible in terms of I'm not trying to eat, um, too much fat, too much high carbs. So it's mainly trying to be high protein. I still do meal preps in terms of high protein. So I try to do like 8 ounces of meat with, say, a half a cup of some sort of carbs, rice, quinoa, whatever it is, and do that with turkey, do that with chicken, and that fits my 3 meals in with the protein shake in there. It's about 4 meals. Um, and if I don't have that extra protein, I get a protein bar or something like that, or some eggs at night. Say 5 eggs scrambled, nothing else on it, just with some pepper and salt. Just eat that. So it's like I'm trying to be as at least most of the time my goal is to be eating clean and healthy so that I can on some days I can, have a burger, have a couple of burgers and be fine. Nothing's going to affect me. If anything, that's only it's going to be processed way quicker because your body's running so efficiently. So that's the goal. It's consistency in terms of not just working out, but also your diet, how clean you eat. So you have more leeway, so you can enjoy food. Because I love food, man. Like if I could eat pizza like every other day, I would eat that. So in order to be able to do that, I have to work out consistently, eat consistently most of the week, so that I can enjoy that meal, every other day or something like that. So it's my body's running efficiently. I think that's been my principle right now, is try to make myself be consistent most of the time, so that I can have that freedom to do whatever I later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And what's your take? Because you mentioned high fat, because there's a lot of people that, oh, well, you can eat as much fat as you want. But then
Depends.
I'll watch. Yeah, but then like some bodybuilder type person was like, fat is fat.
Yeah.
he's like, so do you eat like red meat at all? Or
I do, yeah.
Okay, but
Just some ground beef.
Yeah.
I usually tend to, again, comes back to timing. Time those right after my workouts. That's when you need the most protein, most energy. So red meat, I like to eat my post-workout meal is probably red meat, like some ground beef or steak or whatever it is. And then the rest of the meals are cleaner in terms of turkey or chicken. Those are the cleanest. Or if you eat fish, that's clean too. So it's like tailored around when I work out. So before I work out, nothing or a protein bar. After I work out, if I'm going to eat red meat, that's going to be the first thing I eat because that's when my body's going to absorb it all right in the beginning. It's not going to store it. The later in the day it gets, the less carbs you need. You need the most carbs right after you work out. And then after that, you don't need as many carbs. So it's like the carbs kind of taper off. And the protein still stays the same. If that makes sense.
So will you even have like rice or quinoa for one of your last meals, like in the evening?
I do, yeah, with rice with, turkey or rice with chicken. But if I'm eating like super late at night, I try to minimize the carbs. But if it's like, for example, if I started my meals at 5 p.m., I'm going to be eating till like 10, 11, because otherwise I can't fit all my meals in there. But it's all like you have to find a good, happy medium because you can't go crazy with every hour. I'm not trying to eat just to get my protein in. Some days I don't get my protein in, and that's fine. I think it's being more flexible with that. That's why it comes back to consistency for me. As long as I'm consistent most of the time, I'm okay. I can have that leeway. I can, not eat a meal one day or cheat one day, and it's okay because the next day I'm going to pick it back up again. So it's like you have to find a happy medium where you're not going crazy with being so strict with yourself that you hate life versus you have to be able to enjoy your life too. You have to eat. I love food. I love trying different things, and I want to be able to do that. So in order to be able to do that, you just have to tailor it around make it into a lifestyle where you're eating healthy most of the time and not have to worry about sometimes when you do cheat and it's not going to affect you as much. You know what I mean?
Favorite cheat meal, is it pizza?
Oh man, dude, I think it varies. Recently it's been burgers.
Like from a specific place or?
No, the other day I had Five Guys.
Those fries are good
those
too.
fries, the Cajun fries, man.
Yes,
Oh my God.
Cajun. Yes.
Those, what else? I love some Korean barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
What else? Dude, anything. Like I love trying new things, different meals, pizza. I could devour a whole Domino's pizza on my own, and that'd be my entire meal for the day. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Do you like sushi?
I love sushi. Oh my God. My girlfriend doesn't eat fish,
Okay.
so it's hard for me to go get sushi. So when I do get the opportunity, I just go ham. I just eat as much as I can. And that's kind of healthy too in a way because it's just meat and rice, carbs and protein. But you can overdo it really quickly.
Oh
Really
yeah, I've
easily.
been there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely can.
Yeah, but I love it. What about you? What's your go-to cheat
I
meal?
mean, yeah, I mean Korean barbecue and
Yeah.
all you can eat sushi
Oh,
for sure. Eric got to
dude.
witness.
You guys,
Dude.
anyone listening, like it's hilarious. It's a spectacle watching him eat all you can eat sushi.
Oh yeah?
Like he just keeps ordering more and more and
Oh, I
more.
love that.
And
We
then
need to
he's
go eat
getting like,
sushi.
and then he was getting like teriyaki chicken on the side, like a plate of that,
Yeah.
and just scarfing it.
Protein.
I didn't.
Yes.
I'm like, I tapped out after the first round because I screwed up by getting shit that had too much of that mayonnaise and stuff on it. I'm like,
Yeah.
luckily the girl's a sweetheart and threw it away like without charging us.
That's
But I
awesome.
tapped out after one round because I got way too much.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, Sam will maybe order a couple more. It's like, no, he did like 3 more rounds. And I was
Oh,
just
I
sitting
love
there
that.
watching and laughing. Like Sam was in his element. I'd never
Yes.
seen someone so alive. And he was just like loving it.
Did you work out before that too?
We had filmed all day, so
Okay.
we had walked a lot. So I
Okay,
had,
yeah.
and I
You
had
built up an appetite.
protein shakes along
Yep.
the way, and
Yeah.
but it's how you order too at those places because
True.
all you can eat sushi. I get nigiri, I get clean rolls. I try to avoid the ones with the heavy sauces.
Yeah.
Nothing fried ever, no tempura ever.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
just concentrate on the meat and rice.
Yeah.
The fish and the
yeah.
rice.
Oh my god, you
And
can eat
then-
that all day.
Oh man, and then I've left a lot of all you can eat sushis uncomfortable, but it comes down really quick.
Yeah.
Because it's just a cleaner. Whereas if you were to go to an all you can eat pizza place,
Oh,
you're
man.
gonna feel like crap for a week.
yeah, yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Or like
You know.
pancakes or oh,
Oh, man.
dude.
Pancakes in so long.
Oh man. Yeah.
But and just
But even those cheap meals, I like to like make sure I work out first. So I built up an appetite.
absolutely.
So I feel a little bit better about myself for eating that much. And plus I have more of an appetite. Otherwise, if I'm not working out, I tend to notice that my energy is lower. And I don't have as much of an appetite. I don't even want to eat on days that I'm resting. Not eat as in like eat just regularly, not overdo my protein or overdoing carbs. I get full very easily. So I like to work out before I go for like a huge cheap meal or eat like a burger or something. Oh, appetite's there, man.
I foresee some type of group workout followed
do
by an
this.
all you can eat
I'm
something
so down.
very soon in the near
Well,
future.
we should do that. Definitely. All three
Oh.
of us
Any day.
get a workout in together. That'd be awesome, man.
And then just go slam some sushi
Oh.
or whatever.
That'd be so. Oh, I'd love to eat sushi with you because I don't get the opportunity to. I want to.
I'm telling you, like it is a spectacle. It is. I can't describe it. It's just so primal, but like he's got this like shit-eating grin on his face while he's doing it. Like he knows he's like putting on a show,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
it is funny.
That's awesome.
is fun.
dude.
I
gotta
wasn't
come.
even 100% that day either.
Yeah.
I gotta shout out to KG in Vegas. He's an all you can eat sushi partner of
Nice,
mine.
nice.
Like when we go, it's business.
Yeah,
It's business, and they know too. They
Yeah.
know when we go. Like, all right, these guys are.
gonna go.
They're not ordering alcohol. They're not
Yeah.
ordering any other stuff or any all the. They
Yeah.
don't. I'll order the sides, like the,
Yeah.
if you can get steak and the chicken,
Right,
and
right.
get a nice little cucumber salad or something
Yeah.
to warm it up.
Totally. just to warm up.
See, that's a little taste. That look he had when he said that. That's a taste.
It's like, yeah,
That's
I'm
a
gonna,
taste.
I'm gonna
Right.
need a Philadelphia roll. I'm gonna need probably an Alaskan roll, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna need 2 tuna, 2 salmon, 2
Yeah.
yellowtail, and that's what we're starting with.
Right.
We're starting
I love
with that.
I love that.
We're starting with that.
Yeah.
But
That's amazing. I can't wait. We should do that sometime soon.
man,
I'm so down.
this podcast has made me want to work out. It's inspired me, and now I'm hungry. So this has been
That's
one for
awesome.
the senses, man.
Yeah, man. I love that we can relate on fitness, all of us, and like health and wellness. It's like it's very important. A lot of people tend to neglect that, and I feel like that's no matter what industry you're in, what career path you're choosing, if you have health and wellness as a priority in your life, it's going to help you go farther in whatever you do.
And sleep with you, because on the
Sleep.
last podcast
Sleep.
you had talked about sleep can be one of the most challenging parts for you.
Yeah.
If that is that still true, or have you improved your
You
sleep?
know what? That's it's something that I have to work on daily. And I've been testing different things. Some people say taking magnesium helps. Some people say sometimes ice bath helps. Doing an ice bath before I go to bed just to calm myself down. Meditating helps. It's all like some days something helps. Next day it might not help me anymore. So it's like a work in progress for me. Continually trying to figure out what's working for me, what's not working for me. Um, but sleep is a huge. If you can nail down sleep, I'm so jealous of people who can just fall asleep like that. Like it takes me a half an hour to try to fall asleep. You know what I mean? But luckily, at least I can stay asleep unless something wakes me up, and then I'm done for the night. And then I can't sleep anymore. So it's been a challenge for me to try to figure out how to get good quality sleep. But I've been trying. I've been trying to figure out what different ways. Sometimes pillow helps, so keep the temperature really cold. There's so many different things people say. I've been trying everything, seeing what works.
Have you tried sauna before bed? Because I have heard that
Sauna,
before bed
I haven't.
helps.
That's true. I should
Yeah,
try
I was going to
sauna.
say heat and sun.
Yeah,
Just getting the sun, just
that's
man.
true. I noticed that like on days when if you go to the beach, you're exhausted the rest of the day, right? You're so right. That makes complete sense why sauna would help that too.
And you have one.
And I have one. Yeah, I should try that. I do saunas. I like to do it right after I work out, but I should try doing it at night.
Yeah, sauna, quick shower before bed, and then maybe
Just knock
maybe
out.
it helps. So when you come on for part 3 one day,
right.
you're gonna go, my life's
It's
completely
changed.
changed. I've been sleeping 9 hours a night.
Right. Oh, that'd be the dream.
But you know what's crazy is as we're talking about all this, society really doesn't set you up for any of this.
No.
Like you really have to, if you are in a corporate grind of some kind or whatever, you really have to force
Yeah.
these good habits in.
Right.
Whereas we were talking about dropping out of the matrix
Yeah.
and all that. It's like, wow, it's like, yeah, this is how you can live optimal by having more flexibility. To me, that's more important to have. I'll take less money for more flexibility and time to
Yeah.
live a healthier lifestyle any day of the week.
That's what I've realized too. 100%. I feel like that's it's easy to put health and wellness aside and just focus on the grind. And just, if you have a job, people are usually exhausted and use that as an excuse to, I don't have enough time. I'm too tired to go work out, whatever it is. But it's easier said than done, right? Not everyone can take that leap and just go ahead and quit their job. But if you do it in a way where at least you're smart about it, you think ahead about it and try to plan it in a way where you can sustain your life. Um, I feel like it's more about quality of life. It improves your quality of life when you have more freedom to uh, pursue, like try different ways to figure out what's working for you. Because sometimes just going to the gym doesn't work for everyone. Sometimes, people need something more than just weights. People need like a sport or, like hiking or whatever it is, whatever your form of exercise, as long as you get some sort of exercise, that's going to help you in the long run. And I think but having the opportunity to figure that out or the time to figure that out, that's the hard part. When you have, you're working 40, 50 hours a week, the rest of the time is going towards errands or just chilling, just relaxing. So where's the time to figure all that out? Only the weekends, but the weekends you're scrambling to get everything else that you couldn't do during the week. So it's like, I would encourage people to just find a way to prioritize health and wellness, if that is one small step at a time, a little bit every single day. And then over time, you're going to learn a lot more about yourself and what you're capable of. You'll realize you have a lot more potential than you think. And you might be even inclined to explore different things outside of your, job or your passions or whatever it is. I think it just gives you, what we did was probably the riskiest thing. I think that was for me the riskiest thing I've ever done, was quit my day job and just go 100% into my passion. And it's still something that, it's not something that everyone else is going to understand. And I think you have to accept that. You can't change other people's minds. They're not in the same. Whoa.
It was the corporate ghost.
Yeah.
Come back to the 9 to 5.
Right. I'm sure you've had a different experience. I don't know what your experience is, but I'm curious to know about it because for me, it was in the beginning, it was very challenging because our brains were so wired to that routine, to that worker mindset, where it's just, okay, I got to do my job to make my money, and then I can do everything else. But now it's like the world's your playground. There's too much going on. I don't know where to, because I was so trained to do this. Now I can do anything, but that's too much for me, So you have to kind of, you learn a lot more about yourself. You learn about your weaknesses, your strengths, what you need to work on, and it gives you an opportunity to do that. And obviously, like, you're going to be stressed. I was stressed a lot, and it's not something that's gonna ever really go away, but you're going to learn how to deal with it and how to, use that to your advantage. And it's a work in progress. Continue even today. It's a work in progress daily. What about for you?
Yeah, well said. I think it's very humbling
It is that too.
because, for example, like whenever you're working for someone else or you don't have the time to dedicate to something, you always have that. I don't know if excuse is the right word, but like, man, if I only had
Yeah.
this much time to do this or blah, blah, blah. Well, here you go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then you start doing it and,
Right.
maybe some things I'm like, okay, yeah, this is really taking off because I'm able to do this. And some things like, oh, this isn't what I thought
Yeah.
it would be like.
Right.
And that's the thing. It's really, 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 really hard.
It is.
And you start to really realize why a lot of people are going to quit. A lot of people are gonna, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's
No.
nothing wrong. Some people I've met people like, dude, I like the 9 to 5. It's
Stable.
stable. It's every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't have to think too much about it now. But you're just as vulnerable in that position as you are in entrepreneurship as well.
Yeah.
But with entrepreneurship, there is no guaranteed check in the beginning at all. In fact, you
Right.
are pouring all your money into it
Right.
and not getting anything back.
Right.
So then your mind starts going like, well, should I be doing this? Or,
Yeah.
especially if the results weren't what you thought they would be.
Yeah.
But I think you do have to take that leap of faith in a sense and have that reminder to yourself that this is your mind playing games with you.
Yeah.
This is the mind working against you.
Right. And society kind of trains you to be
Society.
a certain way.
Because people are going to ask you, people go, hey, how much money, are you, the famous one, how much money do you make doing that?
Right.
Have you guys made any money at that yet?
Right.
What's your, and
Yeah.
and then, it's just, but what I'm learning too, it's like it's a slow process too. It's not
Yeah.
an overnight thing. It took me a while
Yeah.
to adjust to it.
Yeah.
And now that I'm there, like we were talking before, it's like now that you're there, you can't go back.
No.
Like, am I going to be blind to certain opportunities? Like if something comes along and it makes sense
Right.
that works with what I'm doing, of course I'll listen. But at now it's like, no, we've gone this far. Like
yeah.
It's Indiana Jones when he grabs in the first movie where he grabs the whatever.
Yeah.
And as soon as he lifts it off, the temple's crumbling.
Yeah.
So you're either going to stay and die
Yeah.
or you got to run out of there, man, and get to the
Right.
plane. And if you stop at any given moment, you're dead.
Yeah.
Because if you stop, the tribe's going to get you and throw a spear. So it's like
Right.
you have to keep, I'm all over the place with this, but it's
No.
it's humbling. It's exhausting. It's mentally challenging.
Yeah.
I'm selling it really good right now.
No. I mean, going back to what we were talking about in the beginning, the risks. It's a risk, right?
Mhm.
But you took that risk. We took that risk, but you're able to handle it. You just learn a lot more about yourself too, and it forces you to take more risks because you took the biggest risk. At least for me, I took the biggest risk, that I'd taken in a long time was quitting that job, that stability, that consistent paycheck, and just going after what I love doing. And that, for me, knowing that I was able to do that opened so many more doors to me in terms of, okay, well, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. Let me just try another risk. Let me just push myself even more. I got nothing to lose. I've lost, there's nothing more I could lose. Let's keep going. Let's take more risk. Let's try this. Oh, it doesn't work. That's fine. Let's try this. It just, once you, I guess, get out of that matrix or whatever that is, that consistency, that comfort zone, that's the right word, the comfort zone, you're more likely to keep pushing your boundaries to see how much farther can I go? What else can I do? What else can I learn more about? Maybe learn a new skill, something completely different. You're more likely, your brain's now trained to be okay with risks. That fear is going to be not as much the second time around than it would be the first time around. Does that seem to apply with you too?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You actually remind me, and I want to articulate this because I think it's important for someone that's maybe like thinking, or they're 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
And look, I will say this, I'm grateful for every job I've ever had because it taught me something. I learned something. I met people. It gave me experience.
Definitely.
So I think there's value in that
Yeah.
because I actually use that experience now, like
Yeah.
just being in certain situations, doing certain types of work, you
Totally.
know how to move a certain way. But what I realized, so this last all-in moment for me, I was in between jobs and I was interviewing for jobs and, getting somewhere on some of them. And the job market is brutal, by the way, like insane. Everything's graded by AI and
Yeah.
just insane to even get to a person. That's a whole other conversation.
Right.
But I realized, I'm like, man, I'm putting so much effort and time into this just to go get a job so I had to get that safety net of something so I can say, well, so I can keep doing my projects and
Right.
blah, 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 blah. And well, at least have this over here and that over here. But what if there's another way to do all this?
Yeah.
And I'm not recommending anyone do what I've done, but I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to put this whole job thing on hold right now. And I'm the job.
Right. Right.
I don't care what's on my LinkedIn anymore.
Yeah.
Cause my LinkedIn used to be, it was like a
Same.
totally different person. It was
Yeah.
a different, whatever jobs I was going for. I'm like, no,
Right.
this is me. This is who I am.
Yeah.
This is what I do.
Right.
Sam Dever podcast, plastering it everywhere.
Yeah.
It was so I even get enlightened and inspired talking about it because
Right.
I really, for lack of a better term, came out
Yeah. Yeah.
to my true passions
Right.
and didn't have to live a double identity anymore, a double life.
Yeah. I completely relate with that.
And I never would have gotten there, man. Even if I would have gotten a job that paid me $500,000 a year, you can't buy that mentality.
No.
Boom! There it is.
It's the mindset change.
That's what we.
And it's the same thing with having like a plan A and a plan B, right? If you have a plan B, you're gonna fall back to plan B all the time. But if you only have one plan and you're gonna go for it, it's survival at that point. You're gonna figure it out no matter what. Like you're gonna figure out a way to whatever it is, make money, figure out a way to build a brand, whatever it is. But you're forcing yourself to do that. But if you have something to fall back on, you're like, I could do that later. And I'm just gonna go back to my job. I got a safety net right here. This money's good, That's what draws you back is that consistent paycheck. But if you don't have that, if you completely lose that, you're gonna figure out a way. If that might take you a month, it might take you a couple of years, whatever it is, but you're not gonna stop. You have that mentality now of never giving up because you can't. You have no backup option, and it's gonna force you to figure shit out. And it's like you said, it's exhausting, it's tiring, it's scary at times, it's completely unreliable, but your mindset's there. Your mind is going to be the strongest asset that you have. And if you can train that that's going to be the most invaluable asset too in the long run. Because if you can train that to endure stress, take more risks, and go through, traumatizing experience on quote unquote is kind of quitting the job, then it's going to be able to handle way more. You're expanding your brain, and it's like that's what I've realized, at least. Like I'm less afraid to take more risks. I'm less afraid to do things that maybe I would have been if I had a job or a consistent paycheck. You have something to fall back on. But now, no. Okay, you want to do this tomorrow? I'm there. I'll do it tomorrow. Like I'm not, I have no excuses. I'm trying to put myself in a place where I don't have an excuse, and I'm not using myself as an excuse. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a complete mind shift, man. It's crazy, but people won't understand unless you go through it. That's the hard part. I can say, we can be here talking about it all day, but it's the experience. It's if you're ever going to take a risk, now is the time to take a risk, when you're young and you're able to recover, whatever it is. But I think the more risks you take, the more different avenues you can figure out too. And it's crazy. It's like, especially with the ice bath thing, I had no idea this was going to be a thing, but it was just, I was just researching, trying to figure out different things, and I was doing it for health reasons. And that turned into like what I'm doing now. And it's just, maybe this might lead to something else. Maybe next year I'll be doing something else. I don't know, but I'm open to it. You know what I mean? I'm not closed to any opportunity. I'm open to everything. And I think that's like a freeing way of living, in a way. You have better quality of life. I can go work out in the middle of the day. I can take a break right now and go work out and come back and finish this up later. We'll be fine, It's like flexibility. It's a different way of life, that's for sure.
I'm about to fire out of this chair like a freaking rocket ship, man. Like this might be the most pumped up I've ever been on this podcast.
I'm glad.
Eric, can you reach, you see that book right there called Burn the Boats? Right there. Thank you, sir. This is it all. This was not planned. Shout out to Matt Higgins, author of Burn the Boats. I just finished this.
Oh yeah.
I'm giving this to you, my friend,
Oh, what is this?
he is talking about everything that
Wow.
we've been talking about. It's a phenomenal book. It's basically, like no plan B.
Right.
Plan A. It's a mindset, because when you have the plan B, oh, well, I got a safety net. And
Yeah.
You're just not going to go as hard.
Yeah.
You're not going to, Eric and I have had this conversation before. There's something to say about the person that doesn't have the safety net, that
Yeah.
doesn't have,
You're built different after that.
it's built different because you have to move a certain way or else
Yeah.
it's not going to work at all.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
and there's days too where it's like, oh, dude, I don't want to post this. Like, I don't
I
want to
know.
get on, hey guys, come check out the whatever. But it's
Yeah.
like, who's going to do it?
Right. Right. It forces you to figure it out.
It makes you accountable.
Yeah.
Too. I think that's one of the best parts about
Yeah.
eliminating plan B. It makes you accountable.
True.
Like, hey man, if you don't do this, this is on you.
Yeah.
This is on you. Your results are going to be on you because
Yeah.
you have no plan B.
Right.
So if this plan A doesn't work out, you got to look at what didn't you do
Right.
to go all the way with it.
And if anything, like I feel like it's been more motivating for me because I'm not spending 8 hours of my day working for somebody else, building someone else's dream. I'm working 24/7, working on my dream, building my own brand, whatever that is. And it motivates me because I'm excited to wake up and figure out like what's today going to hold for me. Every day is different now. Before, every day used to be the same. You know, you wake up, you go to your job for 8 hours. After the job, I go to the gym for a couple hours, come back, routine starts over the next day. Now, every single day is different. Some days, you know, whatever. It's just more flexibility, but also I'm excited to wake up and work on myself. You know, if that's one day could be just focused on fitness, one day could just be focused on, you know, reading, one day could just be focused on mental health, career, auditions, whatever it is. It's just, you're really forces you to just really work on yourself and really pushes you to be the best version of yourself that you can be every single day. Even if it's one little thing at a time that you can tweak to be better today, I'm already winning. And that's what I like about ice baths too. It forces me to wake up in the morning and do something that's very challenging. Even on day 170, tomorrow will be day 170. It's still challenging just getting in the ice tub. But if I can get through something challenging right in the morning, right in the beginning of the day, I'm winning. I'm already winning first thing in the morning. And so I can take on any challenge that I can now. And it's like, all right, I'm already winning. So bring it on. Any roadblocks, any challenges, that's fine. Like if you have that mindset, if you already win in the beginning of the day, you already have a positive mindset. You're more optimistic going into the day. You're not, you know, you just have a better outlook on life. I feel like, at least that's what I've experienced so far. You just have more excited for the day. What's the day going to hold for me today? Let's just go after it. Let's figure it out. It's more exciting to me than going at my desk and sitting down and working on my computer. You know what I mean? So you're working on yourself every single day. That's what I love.
Which is priceless. And
Which is
congratulations. And there needs to be some type of party for episode 365. That's all I got to say about that.
Right. That's the goal. Let's see. We'll
Dude,
keep it going.
You're an inspirational cat, man. Like, seriously, this
Thank
has really
you.
pumped me up. And we're getting to that time here. And I know you're an actor too.
Yeah.
Is there any acting projects or any other things you want to talk about in that regard with the arts?
Well, the most recent thing I did was I was on SWAT, season 6, episode 16 of SWAT. It was a really cool episode that I did. It was one of the most exciting scenes that I shot. Worked with some really talented people. That was a lot of fun. So check that out. And then I've been doing these cold talks daily on my social media. And then there's more things in the works. So just stay tuned.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to plug while we're...
You know, check out my Instagram at Vinn Sander, VINSANDER. My TikTok is at VINNSANDER. The rest are all under my same name, Vinn Sander.
Okay.
YouTube. Yeah.
Cool. And Eric, do you have any thoughts for us as we're transitioning?
Yeah, just
out?
I want to make one point that, speaking from my experience with our health and wellness, speaking with, we were saying how we sometimes we can get caught up in the rat race and don't have time to take care of our health and wellness. I think it's also important to note that the intention behind that it can be important as well. So it's like if you can get in the rat race of just trying to be healthy,
Sure.
race of trying to look good, so then you're good enough. Like that's something, maybe I've experienced for sure. And so it's like important to keep mindset in there as well. It's like, okay, hey, me taking care of myself, eating this nice meal, working out, it's like a form of like self-love and
Right.
things like that. And so that's kind of the wellness side of it, which actually directly influences the health side of it.
Right.
So that's something I just wanted to shine a little light on, and something that I've been trying to work on myself. And
Yeah.
because you can find yourself in the rat race of just working out,
Sure.
or whatever it is, and then next thing you know, it's like, are you even doing it for the right reasons? Are you getting the maximum benefit? Are you
Yeah.
actually just creating more stress in your life?
That's a great point. I think I want to touch on that. So it's true. Like we've mainly been talking about health and wellness, but that translates to everything else in your life too. The principles that you learn from health and wellness, the consistency, the discipline, the mentality to push yourself. Now, if you use those same principles into everything else that you're doing, your career, content creation, acting, whatever it is, that mentality of consistency, no matter what happens, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to give up. No matter how many no's I hear, no matter how many rejections I hear, I'm not going to stop. Because in this career, in acting especially, as you all know, it's a lot of no's, a lot of, you're not fit for this, there's something wrong, whatever. If you can't get past that rejection, if you can't keep taking that risk consistently, you won't go far. Just like what we were talking about. The more risks you can take, and now apply that same principle to anything else you're doing in your job, in your life, in your career, in your goals, in your passions, they're all transferable skills. So that's very true. That's a great point that you bring. I'm glad you brought that up. So it's very true. You can translate that to anything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Getting hyped up here. No, you're exactly right, man. Like, yeah, just the quicker you learn just to take rejection. What did I hear the other day? Like someone's like, I like failure because I get to learn.
Yeah.
And failing's how you get to win.
Right.
If you immediately just throw in the towel right away when something doesn't go your way, don't become an actor for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
Or entertainment industry in general.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, man, no, this is great. This is very inspirational. Like I said, I foresee us pumping some iron, jumping in cold plunges, slamming Korean barbecue, and eating all you can eat sushi.
I'm looking forward
jumping
to it.
in saunas, man.
Right.
I'm all for it.
Love it. We got to make that happen.
Yeah, I think part 3 we got to do. Yeah, we might have to be on location somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be fun, right? That'd be hilarious.
Get some pull-ups in.
Right.
But, Vinn, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course.
Again, where can people find you?
Social media, Instagram at Vinn Sander, TikTok at Vinn Sander, YouTube at Vinn Sander. Check me out.
And Cold Talk, all that's on there, right?
Yep, it's all on there.
Okay, well,
yeah.
Congratulations. This has been a treat having you here 2 years later.
Yeah, likewise.
Maybe we'll talk less than 2 years from now.
Hopefully, yeah.
But I always give the guests the last word. But before I do, again, thank you. This has been a treat. I'm inspired. I'm motivated. I can't wait to share this one. This is a special one.
Yeah, no. Thanks for having me, Sam. Like I'm inspired by what you're doing. And same with you, Eric. Like I love hearing and talking to fellow creatives, fellow entrepreneurs, because I feel like it's a very small community, or at least it seems like, we're always living in our head. But when I get to talk to someone who's along in the same path that I am or has faced similar challenges, it inspires me to keep going. And hopefully I can translate that to other people, other audiences. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah.
my friend. And I always give the guests the last word. You've given us a ton of gems. It's going to be hard to decide which ones are going to get clipped today. There's so many great clips in this. What do you want to leave us with?
The one principle that I've been trying to live, put in my life is that just have that mentality of not giving up. And it's very easy to give up. That's the easier road, is you can give up very easily. You can choose plan B. But if you stick to your passions, whatever that is for you, if you can just not stop and take those rejections and get past that, there's something way nice, way sweeter for you at the other side. So just keep at it. Don't give up and keep crushing it.
All right. Vinn Sander, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Sam Dever, the Sam Dever Podcast here, and I just want to thank you for checking out this episode. To watch and listen to future episodes, be sure to follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/@thesamdeverpodcast. Thank you so much. See you soon.